Welcome to a TCS guide on the new personal sheet made for TCS Season 15. To cover it real quick, this is a PC only, or mostly PC only, spreadsheet. As in, it will not function the same way on mobile, however, you can still use it as a template on mobile. It manages your Army equipment, your Navy equipment, your Air Force equipment, the production of all of those equipments, and the deployment of the Navy. It doesn't cover deployment of Army or Air Force yet, but that's not really important. They're the easier ones to manage. Navy, though, is more like dependent on where you send it. What you're going to do is you're going to go to this public copy of the TCS Season 15 personal sheet. This will be in the Discord server somewhere, and it'll be in the description of this video. You go to File, and you go and you make a copy. This can be named whatever you like. Oh, I accidentally pressed the button too quickly. Make a copy, wait for it to go, okay. And you can name this whatever you like. Say you want to be France, as I am. And then you hit make a copy. I'll do that, and I'll quickly wait for it to load. And we're here, and we're faced by some warnings. Firstly is this warning: some formulas are trying to send and receive data from external parties. This is because I have image formulas. These image formulas, they pull images from a source URL. So if we just hit allow access, it will just show us our flag and our portrait. They're not unsafe, it's just literally trying to get pictures from websites. This one, it will stay as a ref, and this is if you have access to the TCS main spreadsheet, you hit allow access and it should work. And it essentially connects the two sheets together so that they know they can refer to each other. Anyway, now you may want to change what this looks like. Firstly, we're going to go to control panel and we're going to select what nation we are. Obviously, I said this is France's sheet. I've already got a sheet, so I don't need it, but whatever, we'll get a France flag real quick. We'll go to images and we'll just copy this URL by right-clicking and hitting copy image address, and we paste it in there. Now, if we go to our fleet pages or whatever, we can see France and US flag. Now that's because this is the ensign. These are the ensigns. You can have them as separate flags if you want, but in France's case, I'm just going to paste the French flag in all sections. It is just a formatting thing. We're going to change the leader name to President Charles de Gaulle, and we're going to get an image of Charles de Gaulle. We'll just go with, sure, this works. It doesn't really matter, like I said, I've already got my own sheet going. And we just, again, copy the image address, paste it in there. And then ship prefix is the last thing we need to change in here, which would be French ship in this case. Obviously US ship if you're the US, and HMS if you're Britain. So now this is what our homepage looks like. It's got the portrait of our leader, it's got the French flag, and it's got the year of the game, and the leader's name, and the nation's name. If we want to change the colours now, we want to go to Format, Theme, Customize. Now what we can do in here is we can change the font. As we can see, if we change this, the font changes, and we can change our colours, so we can make it so all text is black, or we can keep it as white, or we can make it pink if we really wanted. We'll make it white. We can change these two accent colours, which is this background colour and this lighter colour, and we can change them to say we want to be purple and dark, or that purple. Kind of ugly, but you get the gist. Like, you can customize this to your heart's content. If you wanted, you can make it red and red. I'll probably just reset it for now. We might just go with a darker blue, say that. Or that. No, that's terrible. That. Whatever. Now, the only thing I will say about this is if you set the text to white or anything else, go ahead and make sure that your hyperlink matches it. Anyway, so that would be how you customize the theme of your thing, of your sheet. And so now you should see that your sheet matches everywhere. Now, what we can see is, obviously I've left this in the copy of the sheet. I shouldn't have, but it gives it a good example. So what we do is we have our equipment in the Army tab. Sorry, walk back a little bit. There is something else we need to do first. What we need to do is we need to go here and we need to change the name of all of these tabs. So we'll go French Army Equipment. Now what we do is we can change the name down here, but then the more important thing is this needs to match. Now all we have to do for this to match, because it works off of a formula, is delete it and then hit undo. and then we should see it comes back as the French Army equipment. You can do this with all your tabs. They can be named whatever you like, as long as this matches up here. So just give me a moment, I'll do that on all of my tabs. Right, so that's done. They all now match their names up here to the names down here. So now we have French Army equipment. We've got Garand in here, whatever. Now let's say we want to add a light tank, which is there. Say we add the M24 Chaffee. M24 Chaffee. We can go into here, find an image of the tank. Say get this image. This will do. And what we do is we hit equal in the picture section. You can have no pictures if you want, but this is the easiest way of doing pictures. You get image as the function, and then you put a open parenthesis. Then in our quotation marks, in some normal double quotation marks, you put the URL that we got by right clicking an image and hitting copy image address. Then you want to hit comma 2 and then close the parenthesis, and then we'll see after a second, because for some reason Wikipedia links take ages to show. There you are. You can do without the 2 if you really want, however that will make it so the image follows its natural aspect ratio rather than stretching out. I prefer in most cases to stretch it out because I just prefer the look. However, you can do whatever you want in that way. We'll add that, doesn't matter for now because this is just a copy that will be deleted afterwards. Say we have 1,000 of these currently and they were commissioned in 44, sure. Now we can set up to produce these. So we can say we want to produce an M1 Garand and some Chaffies, and we'll say we want to do, so we can make at most 100,000 M1 Garands. We'll say, let's make 200,000. And as we can see, we'll only produce the amount that our cap is, but next year we'll see that this order gets shrunk, and over time it will fulfill the order. We can make 52 light tanks, so let's just say we want to build 100 of them. So we should get around half of that order done next year. Now, for the Air Force equipment, we have same thing. We can go here, we just make the shooting star, or whatever. Quickly paste that in there. I'm going to quickly add this on here. So, I've added the shooting star with an image, with type, the amount, the commission year, that's all the same as last time, but this time we have a branch section. This is just for your own personal reference, so you can see whether your Air Force uses it, your Navy uses it, or both. You don't have to have this, you can hide it if you really want. It will just be gone, out of sight. But yeah, that would be how you add it, and then again, if you want to produce it, you go here, you select it, and you choose how many you want to produce. We can make 200. If we put 1,000, it will take us 5 years to meet this order, but over time it will do so. Now, for the Navy, this is where it gets a bit more interesting. Instead of going to the Navy fleet section and completely customizing our own fleet, we'll go to classes and we will create a design essentially. So we will find, say, let's go with light carrier. I'm going to quickly find a light carrier to base this off of. 1 second. Right, I pulled a ship from my own spreadsheet just to do an example. It's a fast battleship, and we set it to active if we are currently wanting to be able to produce it. Now, I have, if we go in here, 2 of these currently in service at this point in the game. However, I can't just simply add them to this sheet. Now, how I go about adding these to the sheet would be I'd go to fast battleship in the type, in this requisition channel, select the type, and we'll copy that down, and it's Ichilu, and what was the other one called? That. Right, paste that both in there. Now we can add it with this prefix already on there, or we can just add it without prefix. Either way, it will make sure there is a prefix once it is added. Now, we don't want to have to wait to produce these because we already have them in service and we don't even have the production cap to build them. So what I'll do is I'll hit this and it will activate instant building, which will mean that the ships will automatically go through whether or not we have production. They won't take any time to produce, they'll just be there next year. So what we can do once we have this is we can go to control panel. In here we can see YC Army, YC Navy, YC Air and YC. Sorry about that, someone knocked at my door. So you have YC Army, YC Navy, YC Air, and YC. Now each of these will essentially run the code to produce a branch of the military. So this will make sure the production for the Army is done, this will make sure the production for the Navy is done, this will make sure the production for the Air is done. The reason you might want to use these separately is in the case of this Navy, obviously we want to instantly produce some ships that we already have. This could also be the case if you've just bought a ship. You had the class, you put it into production, you don't want to wait for it to be produced because someone else has already produced it for you. So you add it to here, you hit on instant building, and then we want to go to control panel, and we just want a YC Navy. Now it's going to ask us to authorize this. We click OK, and we go to advanced, and we go to ultimate personal sheet, and then it's going to ask us if we trust this source, up to you, and hit continue. It is completely safe, I can promise you that. It's just whether or not you trust me. Now we run it, and it's cleared our requisition page, and if we look in here, our fleet is in here. Now you can delete this by just quickly sorting so it's at the bottom and then deleting the row. So it added our ship to here, and I don't know why the status isn't working. I'll make sure that works prior to getting this out. That's being strange. Okay, I know what's happening. I'll sort that out in a minute. But yeah, so this will add the ships instantly, delete them from your requisition, and then if we want to produce normally, we just go to type, fast battleship, and then that class. Obviously, we can't produce that right now. If we quickly just change the class type to something we can produce, say a heavy cruiser, I imagine we can produce. Heavy cruiser, yeah. Oh no, we can only maintain a heavy cruiser, nice. Let me go with light cruiser then. No production cap on light cruisers. Oh, that's because I haven't changed it yet. Oh wait, the light cruisers is broke because I need to change something on that. Again, it will work by the time you have access. Destroyer will do. And then if we change this to destroyer, okay, we have 6 that we can produce a year. So let me just name it, say test 1, and then I'll just quickly copy this down. We can see, oh, I need to go and copy some more. We can see that the first 6 of our production, because we have the production cap, they will be produced. They will be ready next year. We can see that the next 2 are planned. Once these are produced, these will begin production. If it is something like a heavy cruiser, then it will reach a fitting out stage, at which point these will go into production, but these won't quite be ready. It will say fitting out instead of in production up here. This tells you the year it is ending, so that will be ready in 1950. So yeah, that would be how your production works. I can show you in more detail in my sheet. If we go to requisition, we can say we want to find a heavy cruiser, the Suffering class. Then we can see we currently have 1 Suffering class of 3 total heavy cruisers. We don't have any production cap, we don't have any maintenance cap, so it's being planned. If we had a production cap, say, let me quickly just use the US's production caps as an example. We have 4 production caps, and we put in some of these, so we just go 6 again, then we can see we can produce 4, but we have 2 planned. Now, if I quickly simulate that this has reached fitting out period, only one of them has, say, then what will happen is this one will go to fitting out, and then the next 4 will be in production, and this one will remain planned. That's because fitting out doesn't take up dry dock space. In TCS, it's just its own status. It's not usable, but it's not in production. So that would be how you go about doing that. While I'm also on my sheet, I ought to explain deployments. Now we go to the French Navy deployment tab, or your deployment tab, whatever you've named it, and we can see this. What we can do is we can create our deployments. We can do it based on location like this. We could do it based on group, so we could say carrier strike group 1. We could do it based upon ports. We could say port Marseille. We could do it based upon exercise. We could do Franco-British exercise. We could do it based upon the operation being done. Say Brazil bombardment. I don't know why I thought of Brazil first, but there you are. You could do it based on anything you like, but then what it does is it allows you to select these ships. Now what we'll see is if we select a ship, say we want to put in Iris. So sure, this fleet, this submarine, Iris. We click it. Then if we check any other tab, we can see Iris is nowhere to be seen. And the same as if we look in here, we can see that the Torville is in operation in the Eastern Med. If I try to add the Torville anywhere else, you can see it's not available. If we remove it from the Eastern Med, then search for it, it will be available. So this is a way of managing your fleet so that you know where things are. You can also limit this based upon the type of ship. So if I want only heavy cruisers to show up, I click this, that is my only heavy cruiser that is currently not deployed. So yeah, that would be how you manage your deployments. Really simple, really easy. And if we go to the French Navy Fleet tab, we can see it is reflected here where these ships are. So yeah, that is how everything works in this. Again, once you've got all your stuff being produced, you can go into here. So look, we're going to build 201 of these, we're going to build 99,000 of these, we're going to build 52 of these, and we're going to build 6 destroyers. If we go to control panel and just hit YC in general, we watch it run for a second, give it some time, and it will say finish script. Once it has done that, we can go to the army equipment tab. We can see, look, 99,000 of these have been added, 52 of these have been added, and then we go to here and we can see this is reduced by the 99,000, this is reduced by the 52. So now next year we'll have these orders completed, or mostly completed in this one's case. We can see in our fleet that it's added 6 of the ships. I don't know why it's added those 2. I'll look into what caused that, and I'll fix that before this gets released. And we can look in Air Force and we see another 201 of these, and it's gone down to 799. I do not know why this has happened. I'll fix that and then it will work, but you get the gist of how it would function. I think that is finally everything covered. This video has taken me like 11 takes because every time a new problem comes up or a new thing gets added or whatever, or I forget to explain something, and yeah, I think it is finally fully covered. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, I hope you find some use for this sheet, and good luck. Adios. Some final little tidbits I remember to add is if you're deleting something from the sheet, such as a equipment, you want to make sure that you do not select through one of these double arrows. What that will do is if we look, you can see it's currently saying 200,000 there. If we delete it, then the formula gets deleted. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're working around them, like this, if you're deleting things en masse. And as you can see, the formula will still be in there if we do so. The same applies to every sheet. For example, this one, don't delete like that. If you need to delete from this sheet, you just delete that. You just delete those 3 columns. Same with the other acquisition sheet, you should be able to delete those 3 columns and everything clears itself. And if we go to fleet, if you want to delete a ship, you just right click the row and delete row, should be fine. However, if it's in a deployment like this one is, you want to make sure you remove it from the deployment first, or you will probably forget about it and it will just sit permanently in deployment even though it's decommissioned. Finally, I fixed all of the issues that have been happening, and I think everything should be functioning now. So yeah, adios.